Hey guys, check this out. Look at that. Kind of an ugly rock, isn't it? Doesn't look like anything special. Just kind of a tan color, all bumpy and kind of warty. You know, if I were to choose a rock that I thought was really pretty or special out of a whole bunch of rocks, I don't think I would choose this one because it doesn't look like there's anything special about it. But you know what? It is a special rock. It's a geode. Now, I don't know what's inside this geode. I can't see inside. But God knows. He can see what's inside. Kind of reminds me of lessons that we've been talking about lately. That even though I can't see or I can't understand God's plan, He can see. And I should trust the one who can see. I should trust God. Well, let's crack this open. Let's see what's inside, okay? So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take a sock, put my geode inside the sock, and crash it. I'm gonna hit it with a hammer. Let's see what happens, okay? Here's my rock. Man, this geode's hard. Harder than most. Ah, I got it. Let's see what's in there. Let's see what treasures might be hiding inside. Ah. Ooh. Ooh, I see some pretty crystals in there. Ooh. Let me see. Let me get them all together in this so we can check it out. Oh, look. Look at these nice crystals. I didn't know those were in there, did you? Those are beautiful. Those are probably quartz crystals. Wow, you never know what's inside a geode. But God knows. Pretty cool, huh? Whoa, look at those crystals. Man, those are pretty. I think this part's my favorite. Look at all of those crystals in there. Wow. Just looks like a rock on the outside. Here's another one. But what we can't see inside is really pretty. Well, we'll get back to that. But let's talk about our Bible lesson for today. So get your Bibles out and follow along with me. Get your finger ready so you can point at the passages that we're studying. We're going to be studying in Genesis chapter 13 today. We're going to talk about Abram and Lot. We've met them before. We know that God called Abram to leave his homeland, and Lot, his nephew, went with him, and his wife Sarai. Now, chapter 13 explains that Abram was very wealthy. He was very rich. And Lot was very rich. Now, they did have some silver and some gold, but they had lots of herds of animals, goats and donkeys and sheep, lots of herds. In ancient times, in Bible times, that made a person really rich if they had a lot of animals. Because just think about it. If you had animals, then you could have meat to eat. You could have milk to drink. You could have their wool to make your clothes. You could have the hides to make things. So having animals was really important, and having a lot of them made someone very rich. So Abram and Lot went walking around through the land of Canaan. Check out this modern day picture of some animals, a herd that's walking around in Canaan. Like they're ready for a big trip, huh? They've got their supplies. This is a modern day picture, but it does kind of tell you what it would have been like. Well, with a large herd like that, it's great, but there's also problems. If there's not enough food, if there's not enough water, then you're going to have a problem. And that's what happened. So look in Genesis 13 and let's read in verse 6 and verse 7. Okay, ready? You got your finger? Let's follow along. Verse 6. But the land could not support them while they were together, Abram and Lot, for their possessions were so great, and they were not able to stay together. And quarreling arose between Abram's herds and Lot's. They started fighting. They would say, well, I got here first. We need to eat from this pasture. There's not enough water. They started quarreling. And Abram didn't want that. He didn't want it because of a very special reason. Let's keep reading. Look in verse 8 and see why it was that Abram went to Lot and said, we don't want any arguing. Here's why. Look at the very end of verse 8. He says, we don't want to argue, for we are brothers. He loved him like a brother. Now, Lot wasn't really his brother. Lot was his nephew. But to Abram, that family relationship was so important that he didn't want any fighting. You see, Lot's father had died, and Abram took him in as a fatherless child. He took care of him. He took him when they went to Haran. And then when Lot grew up, he helped him to make a lot of money and get rich and have big herds. So Abram loved him like a brother, and he did not want fighting to ruin that relationship. So here's what happens. Let's see. Where am I going with that? Here's what happens. They get to the land, and they're looking around. Their herds are fighting. Herdsmen are fighting. So Abram says this. He says, Lot, you choose where you want to live. We can't stay together. So you choose. If you go to the right, then I'll go to the left. If you go to the left, then I'll go to the right. But we can't stay together. Wow. Abram was a really good guy. He was not at all selfish. You know, he could have said, sorry, Lot, I'm the older one here. I'm the one that God called. And I'm going to choose whatever land I want, and you just go on and find your own place. But he didn't do that. He said to Lot, you choose where you want to live, and I'll go to another place. So what did Lot choose? Well, look what he chose. Let me show you. Lot looked around, and here's what he saw. Look at that. Can you see it? He saw the Jordan River. And along the Jordan River, there was a lot of growth, a lot of plants for the animals to eat, a lot of water for them to drink. Verse 10 says, Lot lifted up his eyes and saw all the valley of the Jordan River, and it was well watered everywhere. This is a real picture of the Jordan River. Lots of water. In fact, there are even little streams that went off from the river. So the area was well watered, and Lot decided, that's what I want. That's where I want to live. Well, living there would be a great thing to do. And they separated. Lot moved. He moved his animals there. And what do you notice? A lot of green grass. A lot of food for them to eat. Plenty of grass. And plenty of water. This guy looks happy, doesn't he? Sure does. He's got a lot to drink. Look at this guy. He looks really happy. Look at that smile on his face. Isn't that cute? So Lot definitely chose the better land. Check that out. Green grass everywhere, lots of water. He definitely chose the better land. Now, Lot was a good guy. He was a very godly man. But I've got to say, I'm not super impressed with him and what he did here. if you had been taken care of by your uncle and you'd become a part of his family and he'd provided for you and in fact made you rich, and if he said, choose where you want to live, well, do you think you would have chosen the very best? Or wouldn't it honor Abram a little more if Lot had said, well, you get the better part, Abram? But he didn't do that. So what was Abram's response? Well, Abram looked around, and here's what he saw. He saw the rest of the land of Canaan. It doesn't look all that plush and green, not a lot of water. So it didn't look that great to him. He probably couldn't imagine a wonderful life in that part of the land of Canaan. He couldn't see it. But you know what? Abram trusted the one who could see. Abram trusted God. And he did have a happy home in the land of Canaan. In fact, look with me at the very end of the chapter, start with verse 14. The Lord said to Abram, after Lot had parted from him, look around from where you are, to the north, to the south, to the east, to the west. All the land that you see, I give to you and to your offspring forever. I will make your offspring like the dust of the earth. Wow. Look down at 17. Go, walk the length and the breadth of the land, for I'm giving it to you. So Abram went to live near the great trees of Mamre at Hebron, where he pitched his tents, and there he built an altar to the Lord. What was Abram's response? He was thankful. He trusted God. He knew that even though he couldn't see a great life in that dry land, God could, and he trusted him. I am so impressed with Abram. He didn't just say, well, this is my right and I'm going to have exactly what I deserve. No. Abram trusted God. And if you trust God and you know that he's going to give you what you need, then you don't need to be selfish. You don't need to choose first. And Abram knew that. He trusted God. Wow. I'm really impressed. Abram was certainly a man of faith. He was unselfish and he was kind. You know, it kind of reminds me of that teaching of Jesus when Jesus said, do unto others as you would have them do to you. You remember that, don't you? I know you do, because if you've been in We Worship, you learned it. Remember we used to say, what Bible verse begins with D? Do unto others as you would have them do to you. Remember that, Riley? Braden? Michaela? I know you remember. Well, that's what Abram did. He was unselfish. He was kind. He did to Lot what he would have wanted someone to do to him. He's a really good example to us, to not be selfish, to trust in God, and to be kind. Got a challenge for you this week. One or two of them. Number one, has someone been kind to you? Have they let you go first, maybe, when you were choosing something? Or did they give up something for you instead of saying, well, it's my right, I deserve it? Did they give it up to you? Can you think of it? Tell me about it. Or number two, are you in a situation now, or have you been in a situation where you gave up something that was your right, you deserved it, but you thought of the other person first, and you let them choose first, or you let them have it? Tell me about that. I bet you can relate to that. That's the kind of person I want to be. I want to trust in God. And when I do, I don't have to be selfish and stick up for myself and demand my rights, but I can think of others, and I can be unselfish and kind, just like Abram. Have a great week. I know God will bless you.